Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to give you a quick overview of how I hacked and put together the Butterick B5882 dress, which is a collaboration between Butterick and Gertie. I really loved the pin-up style of this dress. There were just a few things about the fit and also the way the straps worked in the neckline that I wasn't too keen on, so I switched it up a little bit and just made it a little bit my own. I've split this video into two parts. The first part will be mostly the construction of the bodice and dealing with the boning, the pleated front neckline, and the straps. And the second part will be applying the finishing touches, the skirt, lining, and also the final reveal. The first step in making this dress a reality is to cut out the fabric. Here you can see me cutting out first my lining pieces, and then also that piece that I drafted, which was just a simple rectangle with 1/2 inch pleats to gather it up and fit it into the spot in the neckline. I did make a few mock-ups of this and settled on this rectangular shape instead of the initial cups from the pattern. After I'd cut out all the lining, I marked all the pieces and just collected them together to make sure I had everything that I needed. From there, I went ahead and cut out my actual fabric. This was a linen that I had picked up from Draper's Fabrics in one of their previous sales. I'm so happy with this linen. It is a little bit light, which is why I chose to line the dress, but I prefer fully lined dresses anyway, so this didn't really bother me. All of these pieces have modifications from my mock-up to get that more square neckline, and I've done the same on the fabric piece. Got that piece number 1. It's got this more square neckline, which will hopefully result in the silhouette that I'm looking for. So now we can get started with the sewing. So according to instructions, I need to connect pieces 1 to the middle section number 2. I'm also going to go ahead and attach pieces 3 and 4 together until I get a section like this with both the shell fabric and the lining fabric. I actually ended up chain stitching all these pieces together just to speed up the process. And chain stitching just involves sewing one piece straight after the other without pulling your previous piece out from under the machine. And then you go ahead afterwards and clip all the threads, which separates out the pieces again. Okay, so I just went ahead and gave that a really good press. Now I'm just going to clip some of these threads. And there you have it. All the way from the side. I like the placement of the front, so it's going to be really good. The next step in the instructions is to make the ties. And I will be doing that, but I haven't cut them on the bias. I'm just going to have them as normal straps. And I also have to go ahead and pleat my version of this front section. So instead of the 2 cups, I've just drafted a pattern piece, one big pattern piece with the pleats in it. So let it be like this. Insert it in to here, and it'll be a white piece, not this fabric. So it'll be the lining piece. So I'm going to go ahead and mark those pleats on and then attach that to the bodice. I've actually decided to use 2 layers of the lining for the pleats just because the lining fabric is quite thin. So I'm going to go ahead and baste those together first. So now I'm just going to mark 1/2 inch. I'm pretty sure these are 1/2 inch pleats down the whole piece. I'm going to use a water erasable marker. Yeah, so they're 1/2 inch pleats all the way down. So I'm just going to use an iron to iron across and make those pleats, and then I'll be back. And there we have it. All the pleats are now sewn in. I'm going to baste them down and then attach that to the bodice, and hopefully it works out. To attach the pleated section to the top of the bodice, I went ahead and stitched that middle section down, right sides together. And then I clipped into the corner of the bodice section through the pleated fabric, flipping it over and folding the main fabric so that it was all neatly on the inside. It was at this moment that I realized that I kind of messed up when I cut out the lining, and I should have cut it to be the shape of the completed bodice, not the shape of just the main fabric piece. And I now had to do some like mental gymnastics to figure out how I would end up attaching this to the inside of the bodice. Okay, I'm gonna leave the bodice here for now and add the boning to my lining, and then come back to this and figure out how I'm going to attach the lining to this. Because I deviated from the instructions a lot at this point, it becomes difficult to follow them to construct the inside, so I'm just going to prep the bodice, the lining first. make the straps, and then I can sandwich those in this appropriate place when I go ahead and do the lining. That's the plan. Now, the boning that I got from Spotlight, I can't even remember what it's called, but it doesn't have a casing. So I'm thinking I might finish the edges of my lining pieces and then sew down each one and use it as a boning journal. I've seen that done before. Hopefully I kind of remember what the hell I'm doing. I might actually just sew them straight shut because they're going to be internal anyway, so they don't need to be finished, and I'm just going to finish them with a zigzag that goes over the edge. Yeah, that's the plan. Okay, so I sewed these original casings with a zigzag stitch just to finish off the edge. However, when I slide my boning in, so if I zigzag stitch with roughly the foot just a little bit off the edge, that should give me a slightly smaller channel and the boning will sit still rather than moving around. I think I'll do that. And then also went and made them slightly smaller so that the boning itself won't move around. And did that for every single one. So now it's time to mark what the seam allowance will be, measure and cut out my pieces of boning. Okay, now I need to attach this to the actual bodice. Thinking what I'll do, put these right sides facing and sew along. Actually, I've still got to make the straps. Next will be the straps.